couple of weeks ago, I can't actually remember when or if it was in our last episode, we said we were going to catch up and talk about your progress with the carnivore diet just before you went over to Australia to visit your daughter. When was that? In
Mm,
November. You kind of
yeah.
kicked off. So how many months are you? Are you 3 months
Well, I
in?
actually, I'm very close to 4 months now.
Okay.
So I started in the middle of September. So I'm approaching, I'm over the 100-day mark.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
And feeling good? Have you
And
fallen off the wagon?
no, fallen off the wagon, depending on how you classify that. I have eaten non-carnivore food
Yeah.
in this period. Um,
Poison. I'm
because
joking.
yes, I have had poison, um, and obviously that was kind of part of the plan is
Yeah.
as to how will I react to it. What will happen if I eat ice cream? Will I kind of go back to, oh, I have to have ice cream in the fridge? Am I going to? Anyway, the same with some of the other things, alcohol.
Yeah.
Um, how will that affect me? How will I feel? Pizza, because it's not that I'm angry with other food. It's not like I don't enjoy it and
Yeah.
so on. And then obviously some of the easier ones or the things like fruit, introducing fruit every now and then and so on. And I must say that I haven't had any negative experiences except for the pizza. The pizza affected me the worst.
Okay.
And the what I mean by that is I felt sluggish the next day,
Yeah.
and it's just my gut just felt uneasy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but it's not like I was nauseous or something weird happened or whatever. But from a craving standpoint, I don't crave things anymore. Um,
Do you think it's because you've made the association with the not feeling great after eating something like pizza?
um, no, because the craving stopped kind of before I had the pizza.
Okay.
Well, actually, way before I had the pizza, the cravings stopped. So the cravings stop once your body has come accustomed to you operating without sugar,
Okay. So actually,
just
maybe
because.
can I interrupt and say what is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
that you do include in your
Oh,
diet,
okay,
and what
okay.
do you stay away from?
Um, so included in my diet is meat, um, eggs, and selected dairy products.
Okay, like cheese, certain cheese.
So, so like cheese, full fat, anything that's full fat, um, harder cheese, typically like blue cheese is fine. But I have cheese in very small quantities
Okay.
or amounts, not a lot of it. Um, I do eat full fat plain yogurt.
Okay.
Um, Again, small quantities, and I will use that to sometimes if I want to make a sauce,
Okay.
because you don't use flour,
Okay.
etc. It's kind of like a couple of tricks that you. Um, so eggs, obviously, as much as you want. Um, Bacon. So you'll see a lot of people talk about the BBBE. So it's beef,
Very South African
butter.
relevant.
Yeah, it's beef, butter, bacon, and eggs.
Beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Okay, so butter is fine.
Oh yeah, 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 of course. So
Milk.
that's only no
Okay. Cream.
full fat, full fat cream.
Okay.
Again, small quantities. Um, and then introduce a little bit of fermented food. Um, I would say relatively early on in the process when one starts. So fermented food, kimchi, so that's vegetables, but it's fermented and it's small
Okay.
quantities. So that's like a spoonful that you, not even every day. Kefir, which is fermented, or it's milk, it's full fat milk that's been fermented. These um, cultures been introduced, so it's kind of like somewhere between. It's a consistency of a drinking yogurt.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, it's an acquired taste for most people, although to me it now tastes like milkshake.
Okay.
Um, so that's obviously just to help with gut health, making sure that your gut health and your microbiome, um, especially when you go off the sugar and the the, the starches and the wheat products, and all of these other things that you must kind of get out of your system.
Okay. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Do you take any supplements, or are you supposed to take any supplements?
No, you're not supposed to take any supplements. I take one supplement, and that is magnesium.
Okay.
I have I have been on a magnesium supplement probably for the last 10 years already. So my magnesium every 6 months when I get my blood work done, my magnesium is low, and my doctor's tried all sorts of different supplements, and we don't get that right. Anyway, so I do, but it is quite common for people who initially go on carnivore to end up getting muscle cramps at night, maybe, which is a symptom of low magnesium. So through a little bit of trial and error, I found the correct, what I believe to be the correct magnesium supplement. I actually take two now at the moment.
Okay.
I take one at night, which is a magnesium glycinate, and then there's a magnesium I think it's threonate, which crosses the brain barrier, which helps to make you more alert and sharp. And I need all the help I can get on that front anyway. Um, so I take that, and since I've been on that regimen of taking one of the glycinates at night and one of the other ones in the morning, I don't really get cramps anymore.
Okay. So
And
then
then
have
salt.
yeah, I was about to
Have
say I
to
have so many questions. Salt and pepper and
salt. Definitely, you have to consume a lot more salt than you are used to.
okay.
So salt, the sodium in it. So even in your drinking water. So you do get supplements. Element is a very, very
Yeah,
common
I've
and
used
popular
that.
one. You kind of hear element tea. So you get those in flavored, or the raw one.
Yeah.
And that includes basically sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Some of them will include a little bit of calcium,
Give me the thumbs
but
up.
yes. Uh, but anyway, so that's all in terms of supplements. I don't take anything else because it's supposed to be all in what you eat.
Okay.
And I don't feel a need for that. I'm going to get blood work done again at the end of the month. So that'll be a good checkpoint for me.
Okay. So then just on the salt thing, because I've heard that you don't really use other seasonings, herbs and spices, and how do you keep the food tasting good without them?
So that's quite an interesting thing. So it's not that you cannot. I mean, if you go strict lion or strict carnivore, then it's obviously no. But you do get seasonings, etc., that don't contain any sugar. So I use a little bit of, but I go light on the seasoning on some things. Um, but your taste definitely changes. Okay.
Okay.
There's like initially when you first start, there are two things that happen. The one is you tend to undereat because you are so indoctrinated with a portion of protein is the size of your palm.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. Okay. So so and it looks a little bit strange to you when there's only a
Brown.
piece of steak on your plate and
Yeah.
not, the rest of the rainbow and so on. But very quickly, I would say within a week or so, you you kind of figure out which of the proteins work best for you. Um, from what I've seen, um, is that beef is the highest or the most nutrient rich of the proteins. But I eat lamb um, at least once a week.
Yeah.
Um, Pork, chicken, not really. So anyway, so you get used to that, and then you find what works best for you,
Yeah.
and then you'll gravitate towards that, in my opinion.
Do you eat any of the, I can't think what they're called now, but like liver, heart, the,
Of the organ meats,
yeah,
no,
organ
I'm
meats?
not an organ meat
Okay. Because I know they talk about
person.
that quite a lot in the carnivore diet space, that those are
Correct.
very good, rich sources of protein.
Well, so there's a couple of things. I mean, the protein and the nutrients, etc. The vitamin B12s and the vitamin Ks and etc. 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 So I do eat quite a bit of bone marrow.
Okay. Do you do the broth? Or do you eat the actual
Well,
bone marrow in
I eat
lamb
the
or,
actual
yeah.
bone marrow.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't use any other sauces and that sort of thing. But bone marrow, roasted bone marrow, is delicious on a piece of steak.
Yeah, we went to a beautiful restaurant when we were on a Friday trip in Stellenbosch where they give you that piece of bone marrow. Do you remember the
Oh
fat duck or
yes,
something?
the fat butcher,
The fat
wasn't
butcher.
it the fat butcher
I
or
don't know,
something like
something
that?
like that.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
I remember getting a nice
Yes.
big piece of bone marrow.
So consume quite a lot of that.
Okay.
Got a simple recipe of making a substitute for mayo, which is just butter, one egg, a little bit of mustard,
Okay.
to give it
Raw
that
egg.
mayonnaisey taste. Yeah,
Do you beat it like,
one raw egg. You
okay.
you beat it. You melt a stick of butter, or half a pound of butter. You melt it, and then you incorporate that slowly while beating it, or with a stick blender. It works best if you separate the egg and start off with the egg yolk.
Okay.
Um, Add that, and then I add on top of that, I add some roasted
Okay. And how do you get
bone marrow,
this?
and then at
Yeah.
the end of this, you add um, the egg white, and
Okay.
you beat it for like 30 seconds,
Yeah.
whatever, and that becomes almost like it's like a beautiful consistency. It's called butter mayo. If
Okay.
you start following the recipes,
Yeah.
and this you put on your steak, and
So
anyway,
where do you get like the bone marrow, for example? Because I feel like that's not something I see in the supermarket easily
well,
available.
yeah, funnily enough, around here it is
Okay.
easily and readily available. I think it's a question of just asking your local butcher,
Yeah.
or even in your supermarket. Most of them have a big section and have their own butchers. If you just ask them for marrow bones.
Okay.
So it's very easy to make your own bone broth. Bone broth, I think once we get into winter, that's something that I'll have more
Yeah.
of, because you just it is the simplest of things. And as I say, your taste definitely changes. A little bit of salt, um, a little bit of pepper is not going to do any harm. I do see some people say use white pepper rather than black pepper because of the oxalates that are in black pepper. For the quantities that I consume, it
Yeah.
feels like, what, it's not something that bothers me at this point in time.
Okay.
So,
I have
so what are the
hundreds of
benefits?
questions. I feel like we could be here all day because I still have more questions about the actual
Go for
diet
it, go
itself.
for it.
Okay.
Yeah, go for
I
it.
do want to get into the benefits that you've been seeing, and so the next question is drinks. I know you drink a lot of black coffee anyway.
Yeah,
What else can you drink on carnivore
water,
diet? Just water,
water.
and obviously with elementi or something if you want to put
Yeah.
a flavor in it, or
Correct. So I do use one of the local brands. We don't get Alimenti here. I do use one of the local brands, similar formula,
what's it called?
with a little. It's called Revive.
Okay, I think I've also got that one here. Yeah.
Yeah. So Revive, and they come in all sorts of delicious flavors with a little bit of stevia. I don't do the stevia doesn't bother me because it doesn't give me sugar cravings after
Okay.
I've had that. So I don't take that every single day. I'll kind of alternate days. I will drink one of those sachets. The other days I will fill my water bottle with just water and add some good Celtic salt. Um, because good salt that is not too over processed, etc., will also add a little bit of magnesium and a little bit of potassium
Yeah.
over and above the sodium that you get from that. So you can also add a little bit of salt to your coffee.
Yes, I've done that before.
It's actually worth trying.
And
Yeah,
actually, the other thing is because I remember years ago you did bulletproof coffee. I
yeah,
suppose you
yeah,
could do something like that because
yeah,
you can have butter in your
yeah.
coffee or cream, heavy
Absolutely,
cream. Um,
absolutely.
the other one that I've seen is MCT oil. I know that that's a plant-based oil, but I'm just wondering if it is because
Mm,
I know that with
it's
Fast Like a
coconut.
Girl, it's okay to
Yeah,
use that.
it's a coconut.
Yeah.
I think MCT is coconut
Okay.
based oil. Anyway, I have seen some people say it's fine, use MCT. I don't feel like I have a need for that.
Okay.
Um, because I have no problem eating the correct or necessary amounts of fat.
Okay.
So, a good piece of
Steak.
fat on the
Yeah.
steak, I have no problem eating that.
Biltong?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Is biltong
of
fine?
course.
Okay.
Yes,
And
of course.
okay, this was the other question I had. I didn't write it down yet. I've got so many written down. Um, Sausages, like any kind of sausage, a pork sausage, a boerewors,
Yeah,
droewors, those all have lots of things in them. Are they
yeah.
fine to eat on carnivore, or is it one of those things where it's like small quantities?
They they are fine.
Okay.
Um, so 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 obviously when you start adding too many things like spices and garlic and etc. etc. Personally, I would stay away from that. There's some people who feel like cured meats, don't have too much of that. Um, I have I have had very small quantities of cured meats, but it's not because I've had a bad reaction to that. It's just not something that is normally in my diet anyway.
I
So,
also feel like you need
um,
bread with cured meat.
correct. Yeah, that's that's a very good observation. It's like,
It feels
uh,
empty
but
without the
anyway,
bread surrounding it.
yeah. So look, once you get into, there are so many people that have come up with recipes. There's a couple of bread substitute recipes.
Yeah. I tried the egg
That you
one. It didn't work for me.
not
No.
There's um, there's actually quite a lot of them out there,
Okay.
in terms of just basically egg based, and then using a number of different things as a substitute for flour. Cheese,
Yeah.
uh, definitely cheese goes in there. And you can also take pork crackling and grind that up, so it's like a powder. You can use powdered biltong
Yeah.
if you can get that. You can get chicken. They call it chicken flour,
Okay.
but it's basically dehydrated chicken that that's also ground up, and you
Okay.
use that as a anyway. So, but again, I don't feel like that. In the beginning, it was like, oh, a little bit of variety and so on. It's now a question of if I feel like if I have to eat a steak every day of the week, I'm not going to have a problem with that.
You don't get bored
Because
of
it
it.
tastes, no, it
Yeah.
tastes so damn good every single time.
Okay.
There's no guilt. Look, I am spoiled in the sense that I have a sous vide machine.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I sous vide cuts like beef short rib, which can be quite tough. Um, chuck, which
Hmm.
is generally also, oh, geez, you have to cook it. I sous vide chuck and short ribs and that sort of thing, and then finish them either on the gas fry or in a skillet or in the air fryer.
Okay.
And these things are beautifully tender and taste absolutely delicious. In fact, my dinner last night was beef short ribs that was sous vide for 24 hours. And then the juices that came out of that, I used that, added a little bit of heavy cream. I had the most beautiful sauce to
Okay.
put over my. Took me
Mm.
10 minutes to finish that on the gas.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so so variety doesn't. In the beginning, I had chicken, especially chicken wings, quite often, for a bit of variety and color on the plate and so on. Probably had chicken maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Just don't bother with it anymore. We really no substitute. So my at the moment I'm there where it is some form of steak um, is like my main meal. If I do eat breakfast in the morning, that breakfast will be either leftover steak and eggs, or if there's no leftover steak, it will be bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
And I'm talking shit ton of bacon.
A whole pack of bacon.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You might have noticed I'm asking all of these questions really interestedly because I have considered this before and I'm trying to see if it's something that I could do for myself. Um, One of my things is chocolate. Like, if chocolate is a is something that you crave often, would you say maybe start with having one block of chocolate a night, or
So,
or just cut
so
cold turkey?
yeah. So I think that really depends on the individual. A lot of the guys, because remember, before I started this, also, I went down this rabbit hole. I watched a lot of videos and people giving advice, etc., etc. And a lot of people said, for the first month, go cold turkey, stay away from all of these things, because by then your your body would have kind of gotten used to this. You would have given yourself the best chance to succeed at this,
Hmm.
etc., etc. So from that perspective, um, maybe yeah, it is better to
Do a
give
month.
yourself that and say, listen, 30 days, I'm going to go really strict as possible.
Yeah.
And then I will kind of introduce um, something like, um, I don't know, I wouldn't go to one block of chocolate a day because that's That's too easy. But
Yeah.
maybe once a week,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have chocolate, and then you'll actually find that you will reach a point where you'll go like, I don't really feel I don't have to have the chocolate.
Yeah.
It's so you also realize when you go that cold turkey for that first month how much you ate out of habit
Habit.
and boredom.
Yeah.
Habit and
I
boredom
believe
is the
that.
other one.
Okay. I have one more question and then we'll start talking
Yeah,
about your health
absolutely.
benefits. Um,
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's lots of diets and fads and things that are supposedly good for you and supposedly bad for you all over the internet and
Mm.
all over the world. Um, One of the popular things that I've heard a lot and bought into at times is the idea of brain food. So I think dark chocolate, avo, walnuts, berries. What's the other one? I think it might be coffee or red wine. You know, there's a few things that people say
Yeah.
are brain foods or are good for you. I think I buy into that one because I like all of the things on that list.
Yes. Of course.
But oh, and fish. That's the other thing I don't wanted to ask you about.
Mm.
But how do you feel about that? I actually have another question and I keep going, okay,
Sure.
finish this one and then I've got one more and then I'll ask
Okay.
about the health benefits.
So the easy one to answer is obviously you can eat fish if you like it, any type of fish and as much as you want to. So I'm not a big fish eater, and the fish that I enjoy to eat is more expensive than steak.
Okay.
So it's easier for me to find better quality red meat, whether that is steak or whether it is any of the cheaper cuts of meat. Because, mince meat, make hamburger patties, this is the easiest thing in the world, Just make these things. And incidentally, that's a very good way of, if you find yourself somewhere in the wild,
Yeah.
in the city, and you're hungry, you don't have anything appropriate, just go to your local McDonald's or Burger King and just get the meat and the cheese. And you know, anyway, so I have had fish, and it's lovely, but wild caught salmon is the equivalent of buying Wagyu steak, you
Yeah.
know. So I'm sticking mostly with this. I try to I try to eat as much as possible grass-fed, because the grain-fed, some of the really bad stuff that go into the grain feed. It's the antibiotics, it's the high fructose corn syrup, it's the whatever else that go into the diet. Some of it can actually get into the meat, so I try to stick with grass fed. So that was the one part of your question. What was the other one
And
about?
nuts was one of the things I was curious
Oh,
about, and
nuts. So the
avocado.
brain food and so on. So again, there are people that say avocado, have half an hour once a week or whatever is not going to do any damage or whatever. Um, as much as I love avo, I haven't had the need to eat an avo, or feel like I have not eaten nuts, because if you go and look at some of the research about nuts, um, so much of what you buy in the supermarket has got mold in it anyway, and it's not really good for you, and so on. Um, Things like almonds naturally contain arsenic. You're gonna have to eat like quite a big bag to for the arsenic to kill you. But hey, so eh, so so I would say go cold turkey on all of these things. Feel how you feel, and then decide. Oh, do I actually need brain food? The
Yeah.
berries. So let me answer the thing about berries. I do consume berries every now and then, at least once a week,
Okay.
whether it's blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, um, a little bit of double thick yogurt with a few berries in makes a delicious dessert.
Yeah.
Oh, you can actually buy organic cocoa nibs. cocoa nibs that have been kind of crushed. So you get the chocolatey
Yeah.
taste,
In
but
some
without the
yogurt or
chocolate and so
yeah.
on. So that makes a beautiful, simple thing for me to feel like, okay, cool, I've had something. The yogurt's quite important for me because I'm a big believer in terms of the brain gut connection and the importance of gut health. And now that I've become aware of how badly I've been treating the microbiome, um, I want to give it as good a chance as possible to recover and then keep it healthy.
Okay.
Because anything that you consume, it may mean that at some point I have to, I don't know, take antibiotics if I get ill, or I don't know, anti-inflammatories, that sort of thing are typically things that I try to avoid anyway, because I know that they are so bad for your gut biome.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you start off with a healthy, then anything that you consume that will do a little bit of damage, you're going to recover a little bit quicker. So so some of the benefits, which is why I said, before you start worrying about brain food and things like that, I mean, that's just the addicted part of you talking. It's the part of you that feels like, geez, I'm going to miss out on stuff.
Mm.
Um, and I fully understand that because that was one of my big worries as well. Is wow, how do you eat when I listen to people talk about a month and 2 months, and then they start talking about 100 days in a year. You think, how is that even possible? Anyway, I'm now past 100 days, and I'm. This is the best um, eating plan that I followed ever.
Mm-hmm.
It is the simplest. It is the one where I felt the best. Um, anyway, so first thing is once your body get kind of adjusted to this, they will for some people it takes a week. For some people it takes 2 weeks. For me, it was within a week. Is an enormous boost of energy.
Okay.
But I'm talking like a serious. This is like all the turbos are now firing, and you have energy that you don't know what to do with. The sad part is that's actually normal,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Anyway,
Are you
and you
saying that
do
that's the normal level of
that is
energy that
that
you
is
should
normal.
have? Okay.
You should have.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If your body is functioning
Yeah.
the way that and I always make this analogy to your car. If a little red light in your car goes on that says oil, you're not going to go, well, oil's expensive. And I actually like this perfumed version of whatever, and put that. No, you put oil in.
Mm-hmm.
And if the fuel light comes on, you put the actual correct fuel in. You don't go shop around but when it comes to our bodies, and how we are, that's what we do. We shop for the cheapest.
Yeah.
We obviously been indoctrinated in terms of certain lies and so on, in terms of what's good for us and what not, and so on. But we don't give it an opportunity to perform to its best.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so definitely that clarity of mind, definitely much less brain fog. Um, Clearer, um, less less inflammation. So I didn't have any other real health issues.
Mm-hmm.
What I did find was that if I exercise and I exercise a little bit hard, I would have the muscle soreness would last for days.
Mm-hmm.
That has gone away. If I get muscle soreness now, it goes away a lot
Yeah.
quicker.
Strength. Have you noticed an
Uh,
increase in strength with exercise?
no, I can't really say that I've experienced an increase in strength with my exercise. Look, I've been exercising for a long time, and um, I haven't really tried to push it. I'm limited in terms of the equipment that I have available because I don't go to a gym. So I haven't been able to push myself from that point of view. It's maybe
Mm-hmm.
something that I must do is go sign up for the free trial 30-day uh, so that I can get
Yeah.
access to some of the equipment and kind of test that. Um, but obviously, body composition. Um, Again, I didn't have a lot of weight that I wanted to get rid of. There's visceral fat that I want to get rid of. That's the main thing for me. That's starting to. I tested it or had it checked on one of those in-body machines in December. No, was it in December? Anyway, it definitely started improving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would have preferred to see more results by now, um, but I also understand that you have to have a little bit of patience.
You have to
You
undo
can't
many, many years of, yeah.
exactly, yeah, exactly. Um, I it was easy for me to quit alcohol because I wasn't drinking a lot anyway.
Yeah.
Um, and be, yeah, I did have a couple of gins over December and Christmas holiday. Didn't affect me. Specifically went for gins because somebody had mentioned to me that I felt that was kind of like easiest on the body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did have while I was in Australia, I had a couple of beers. Again, no effect, not whatsoever. But it's not something that I'm comfortable to introduce on a regular basis
Yeah.
back into my diet. So um, I think inflammation levels in your body, so certain joint pains and so on. It looks like when I kind of bump myself, nick myself, and it's a little bit of a scab, it looks like wounds heal quicker.
Okay.
General condition of my skin,
Yeah.
definitely an improvement.
Immunity. There's lots of bugs going around. I don't know if it's like that there, but here there's a lot going around.
Yeah, I obviously haven't
Mm.
had anything negative or whatever, but it is summer, so
Yeah.
won't expect to get anything here. But yeah, so there's a list of things that I still
Yeah.
want to achieve and that I want to obviously through some blood tests and maybe a few other scans and so on, which I have agreed with my doctor we will get to during the course of this year and so
Okay.
on.
Have you noticed if
But
it's
I feel
affected your sleep at all?
no, I can't say that it has
Yeah.
affected my sleep. Um, I've been pretty disciplined even before I went on this to, um, to kind of maintain a very good sleep schedule
Yeah.
because I understand the importance of that. Um, and I've never had problems falling asleep and that sort of thing. Maybe maybe my sleep is a little better in the sense that um, I don't know. Maybe I feel like I'm well rested when I wake up in the morning. I hardly ever my alarm doesn't wake me up. I'm usually awake before my alarm anyway,
Okay.
and I feel well rested and I want to get up. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, I wish I can sleep for another hour or so. But
Well, you're selling the carnivore diet to me more than you are what you eat on Netflix or selling veganism to me. So
oh yeah, absolutely,
yeah. Have you watched
absolutely.
that?
I haven't watched
It's
it.
very much a vegan agenda. show.
Yeah, I did a couple of years ago, even before carnivore was on my radar. I read there's a doctor. Oh my word, I'm actually not sure if I'll be able to find it that quickly. But anyway, he's quite a well-known American doctor, um, vegetarian, thinks that plants are absolutely the solution. And he wrote a book about it, and somebody recommended it. And I read the book, and at that stage, I was actually quite impressed with a lot of what was in the book, which obviously now in the meantime I've realized that wow, it is so incorrect. And if you really have an agenda that you want to push, and we see that not only with food, we are, you know, are so aware of it, with a whole bunch of stuff that
Yeah. Who's paying for it?
that
Follow the money.
exactly, it's
Yeah.
always follow the money, and what are the incentives there and so on. Anyway, so I I really feel sorry. I've also seen enough videos of people that were either vegetarian or vegan. Um, but I also know people who are vegetarian and they have been for a long time and they operate at a very, very high
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Um, so look, I'm not saying it is the answer or it isn't. What makes sense to me is the fact that you don't have to take any supplements. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to take any supplements. If you do take any supplements, take it until whatever things have leveled out, and then look in terms of your diet, how you correct it. Whereas with being vegetarian or vegan is you can't. The
Yeah.
only way that you can maintain that is by taking a whole bunch of supplements.
Yeah. And then
Um,
follow the money. Big pharma,
and then
where's that
follow the
coming
money.
from? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah,
um,
absolutely. Look, all I can say is, based on my experiences, is I highly encourage anybody who like meat, who enjoy meat, to give this a go and make a call for yourself.
do you see yourself doing this indefinitely? Is this like your
Yeah.
lifestyle now? You don't ever see a time when you'll reintroduce bread and vegetables and
Um, not on a regular basis.
but you wouldn't say no to
Definitely.
having some vegetables on the side if you go to a restaurant and
No, if I go to a restaurant, I will definitely not have the vegetables.
okay. Interesting.
So, 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 look, I just don't um, necessarily enjoy the way that they prepare it.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's a big thing for me. But will I eat bread again? Yeah, for sure. At some point, I'm going to have a piece of toast. Um, but I'm not seeing myself introducing. I hope I never have to eat a sandwich again because that is the healthiest option that I can find right there and then.
Yeah.
So, um, so for now, like I say, it is so easy. There's no waste. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't ever throw anything out that has gone bad. That is,
One more question.
yes,
Is it more expensive? Have you found it more expensive the
no,
way you're doing it? Because I think that's a big
no.
blocker for a lot of people. Is it seems like, as you say, you have to eat quite a lot of meat. Uh,
No, it is not more expensive for me. Now, my daughter, after she saw me doing, she also started going. So she's more than 60 days into it
mhm.
now. And also, I mean, she was like, "Whoa, steamed veggies and skinless chicken breast, that's the healthy way to go," and so on. And now she's chomping the steaks like I am and really enjoying it. And so, so we've got a very good idea in terms of what we spent on food per month versus what we spend now. Like I say, you don't have to just eat ribeye steaks. You obviously pay more attention to which butchers are available around you,
Mm-hmm.
what is available where, buy cuts of meat that are a little bit less expensive. Um, and the fact that there's no waste, you have no idea how much food you throw away and how
Yeah.
much money you throw away on a normal diet. And there's literally zero food wastage. Nothing goes in the bin. Um, so, um, and also, because it is so nutrient dense. So if I eat like a 500 or 600 gram steak and then add an egg on top of that and add a little bit of butter compared to, a protein and two veg and a starch or something like that. It very quickly adds up,
Yeah.
and this is not so. Um, so really, just a little bit of smarter shopping. Um, I definitely don't feel like I'm paying more for food now. I, it's worth a try.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be Googling butchers in my area as soon as I get off this call.
Yeah,
See if I can convince Matthew to join me in this, but we shall see.
I would say get a sous vide stick
Yeah.
because for those cheaper, tougher cuts of meat. But once you've eaten a proper sous vide steak,
Mm-hmm.
you will also not want to eat a steak that hasn't been sous vide.
I've seen it done on Dr. Sean Baker is one of the Instagram
Yeah,
carnivore gods.
yeah,
And he often shows how he prepares his food and it always looks incredible.
yeah. Now there's a channel, sous vide everything.
Okay.
Um, this guy is not a carnivore, but he knows how to sous vide, and honestly, everything. And listen, those perfectly cooked steaks that you always see, where cheese it doesn't taste raw, or it makes all the difference. And like I say, the cheaper cuts of meat. So I made the other day. I bought a, a sirloin, a sirloin roast, which it's tied with a string, but it
Yeah.
had a nice little fat cap on and so on. I sous vide that thing for not very long at 54 degrees, which is the medium rare temperature for beef. About 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. And it was about 1.5 kgs of meat. And then put it in my pellet smoker with a little thermometer in. I thought it was going to take the whole afternoon to get that internal temperature up to 55 degrees. Um, and that only took about an hour or so. And I had this beautiful sirloin roast that was so soft and juicy still and pink, but didn't taste raw at all. No, so a sous vide machine, I think, is
Good
a
investment if you're going to go
is a
carnivore.
good investment.
Okay.
Look, for anybody,
Yeah.
just in terms of you know, but go check sous vide everything's channel. You'll see he sous vides everything: fish, steaks, chicken, and everything in between.
You're selling me
Anyway,
on
give it
it.
a
You're
try.
selling me. I feel like there's a lot more questions and I might come up with some, but we can bring them up in future episodes.
Yeah, no, sure you can.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to following your journey and maybe I'll join you at some point. I'm still gonna do my research, try find a good butcher in the area and see if I can cut out chocolate and bread.
It's much easier than you think.
Cool.
Honestly, I spoke to somebody yesterday who were 2 days into the process, and that person's biggest concern was also, oh, I used to snack quite a lot, and I'm going to miss these snacks and go on. And so, wow, I don't feel like snacking at all within 2 days. Which, anyway, do some
Thank
research.
you. I have more questions already, but I'm going to ask them in the next episode. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chat
You're
soon.
welcome. Okay, cool.